We wanted to
make a difference,
make a
for,
difference
our
for our children that's
and
coming
our
up and our
grandkids.
great grandkids and kids that's coming up.
Do y'all have any people you particularly prefer to vote for?
Well, I'm undecided right now. I'm undecided
too.
right now until I get to the polls.
I'm undecided. I have one in mind, a couple of them, but I'm undecided right now.
That's how I am.
But I will be voting. Now, you do know that I am a city employee, so...
Okay, all right. So you have to be careful about what you're saying.
Yeah.
I understand. Well, tell me about some of the things you think that the lawmakers should be doing. The ones you vote for. What do you think are what should the priorities be, regardless of who you vote for?
The priority should be putting a freeze on gas, taxes, everything, and
food taxes,
everything. Stop them. To put freeze on the rent. Let people that is trying to get ahead instead of to make $1, they taking $2 from you. You know, we can't get ahead if you're pushing us back. You give us $10 raise and our rent go up $50. That ain't helping us. That ain't helping us. That's
for the ones that's, you know, locked up and, you know, been away incarcerated
and can't get jobs.
Can't get a job, and then living on the street. You know, and if
make programs to help them.
Yeah, to rehabilitate them.
Right. Make programs. You know, halfway houses, stuff like that. Stop, you know. These kids ain't got no choice but to go back into what they've been going back into.
That's all they know.
And then not only that, these kids have parents that is living in low housing. They have no choice but to live in low housing. They come home, they have nobody to come to but us. But the law will put you out because you letting him stay with you just to try to get somewhere. He got to live somewhere.
So what you're saying is that if a mother has a son who's maybe been in prison,
or a daughter,
and they have, and the mother's in public housing, her son or daughter has nowhere to live except them, except for them, and except that at their home, and they get put out. Have you seen that happen to some people?
Very much so.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel?
Sad.
What do you mean it's your child? What woman is going to see their child living in the streets? And then they try to get a job, they can't get one because they got this behind them. You know, the law, this and it. It's the whole system is made up to basically keep us down, right down there where we at. We trying, you know, it's a lot of different people around here. They look at this as a bad neighborhood. This is not a bad neighborhood. There's a lot of people out here that try to do something. We try to get beautiful yards. We try to do things. They keep us down. You know, they not working for us.
Yeah,
people
from like the community back there, Steel Meadows, they're surprised when they come in here because a lot of times I do remember before they changed my shift is that when the schools were open, it was surprised to see parents still with the children, watching them get on the school bus. But unfortunately, there's nobody in the afternoon. But this year, I have seen
they men out there. Mm-hmm. There are men. The bus stop right up the street. Instead of it, the women, there used to be a few women. Mm-hmm. Now, it's like 9 guys that's standing at that bus stop watching their kids go on that bus. I praise them for that.
Right, but there's nobody in the afternoon.
Well, in the afternoon, I'll be at work, but in the morning, probably in the afternoon, the men is at work. They might be at work.
I've been at that bus stop, and they even put something in the bulletin about that. There is so many times kids, and they're just running in all directions because I think they need to revamp the bus system, wherein they stay on one side and the other stay on the other.
But the thing of this, last year you ain't seen no men out there at all. You seen half of them mothers. This year you got more men than mothers, so the guys now are beginning to take notice. call their little deuces, taking care of their kids. It is well.
Why do you think that is?
Well, maybe they were beginning to wake up. I don't know, you know.
But this year, it is terrible in Annapolis that there are so many homeless women. Homeless women.
Tell me about that. Homeless
Well,
women.
They giving up. They giving up.
They may have
Society has beaten them up so much
they may
to where they're
have
actually
been
giving
down
up.
on their luck that they have been evicted from
And
their
they
places.
and they giving up.
And one girl
Women are giving
in
up.
particular, she battled cancer.
Yeah.
And I kept seeing her at Safeway. And then finally I started talking to her, and I said, do you still live in Robinwood? She said, no ma'am, I'm homeless. And I kept saying, well, where are you going in these cold? I said, it's so bitter cold. She said, sometimes they better stay at the Stanton Center, but you have to leave early in the morning. And then she said one time they will pick them up and take them up to some shelter, Brownsville Center. And I said, after they had this man that died, that he was homeless, and they had all, I said, were you able to get some kind of help? Well, they will pick us up, but you have to be somewhere a certain time. But unfortunately, the elements of, I guess, the
There's no help out
alcohol, what's the name?
There's no help.
She's going to go with somebody else or something, and she never gets there. But she was pushing a shopping cart there with all her belongings. And they sit in the high heat and everything in front of a Safeway. Or sometimes she leave it there and go inside the Safeway. But it's a lot of people, women that are homeless.
And
So what would you tell that lady? We were just talking about voting. Would you still tell her to vote anyway?
Yes. I would tell her to vote. But
she's not gonna care, but I would tell her to vote yes. Because eventually that one little vote will count. It will count. Or not only that, not only will it count, maybe one of her children that's standing there seeing her make the decision to vote might think in the back of the mind, you know what, I think I'm gonna do this too. And they carry it on, and you know,
because many years ago,
kids see things different than we do.
Many years ago, people on the buses noticed that homeless people, they don't like to have
Be involved, and
mental
it's still
problems
like
and
that
stuff.
now.
They would be sitting in the bus stop, and sometimes you would come past, and then somebody would make a remark. He's still sitting there. I seen him this morning when I left. And someone would say it's too hot, but the bus driver said sometimes they have to call a dispatcher to notify whoever is county or city to kind of check on it, because you never know with all the heat and everything. But then it took up all the bus shelters, so therefore most people
But
have a place to
kids,
stay.
I've learned this from different working around kids and everything. Kids notice stuff like that, and they actually do say, you know what, I can maybe change this or make a change. And every time they vote, you know, Mom did it, I'm gonna do it. You know, I encourage all of mine. Once they turn 18, I take them down.
Well, see, when I was in high school,
They do it now.
No, when we were in high school, the first day after you were getting your diploma, they tell you go to work.
Well, you know, now they make it even easier for them. They put they send them papers and things out now.
The easy part of it is that they might get them registered, but it ain't saying they're going to vote.
Yeah, true that. True that.
True be that.
Yeah, but you know, it's
So if you had one thing to say to whoever gets elected, to these offices, what would you tell them? What would you tell them
Listen
to do?
to the people.
yep. Put a freeze on everything.
Yeah, but
Put a
listen to-
freeze on everything, and let's start from the bottom and work our way up.
I see Sheila.
Don't promise nothing. Do. Don't say I'm gonna do this if the people vote for me, and then once you get in, a month or two later.
But see, they can't really promise a whole lot.
No, they can't
because
promise, but they can make a lot of things happen,
The
though.
weather has made
They can make things
the
happen.
weather has made such a difference in our food prices, our gas prices, and all this year because of the blizzards, and now the tornadoes and all of that in certain parts of the area,
Okay, saying
and
that.
the drought. All of that
saying that-
combined has made a difference for everybody.
Okay, saying that to say this. Year after year, it's always a disaster with the weather. That's an act of nature. That should already be put in there. So you can't blame an act of nature. Therefore, you set aside a little piece just in case for snowstorms, rainstorms, floods.
Oh no, I'm not talking about the storms. I'm
but
talking
you
about
have-
food production.
Well, that's all put in the package of emergency nature. Okay? You have a flood, you have a drought. There's so much money that the government say, you know what? This is Arizona. I'm gonna put $50 billion in an account for Arizona just in case there's a flood, there's a drought. Louisiana, $50 million, bam, in the corner.
Don't do that.
This, because of maybe they could have a flood, just like the Katrina. You put that away at first. Then you work on the rest of the whole situation. See, we can't do nothing with what God does. That's an act of nature. That's God. Our government make us pay taxes for a reason, to put money in reserve for stuff like this. What is our taxpayer money? We paying taxpayers money, but every year or two, they slapping taxes on us, raising our rent, raising our food, income taxes and everything, and we going deeper and deeper in the hole. Okay, they say we gotta cut the budget. When they cut the budget, they take from us. We the one hurting. Are they hurting? Are they hurting?